I dig in the dirt. Shovel, shovel, I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
G'day and welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochrane. We've got another sensational program for you this week, packed full of great down-to-earth garden advice. Now, we're in a tropical environment here, and this is one of my favourite plants. Something everybody should grow in their garden because they grow pretty much all over Australia, with maybe the exception of Tassie. This is known as Brunfelsia latifolia, or yesterday, today, tomorrow. Now, it gets its name from the different coloured flowers, yesterday, today, tomorrow. And it's got the most beautiful perfume. Now, this is another ripper to put into your garden. We've got a whole heap more in the show, so let's get on with it.
Spring has sprung, and there are a few simple things you can do this weekend to get your garden bursting with produce and colour just in time for summer. Because the soil is warmer and plants are waking up with new growth, spring is a great time to fertilise the whole garden. Water it in well and check your mulch levels. To suppress weeds and reduce evaporation, mulch should be 7 to 10 centimetres thick. Top it up now if you need. Plant spring and summer flowering annuals now, and they'll be bursting with colour to brighten your outdoor entertaining areas over the warmer months. And don't forget the veggie garden. Use companion plants like marigolds and nasturtium to attract beneficial insects and ward off the nasty ones. And while you're still in the veggie garden, now's the time to plant seed potatoes and beans. And here's a tip. Position your bean climbing frame before you even plant your seeds. This helps to avoid root disturbance and encourages your seedlings to grow upwards. And for spuds, chit or sprout your potatoes before planting them by placing them on a windowsill that receives indirect light for a few weeks. This will give your potato plants a head start and hopefully improve your harvest. And finally, if your chooks have been a bit sluggish with egg laying over the cooler months, give them some high protein mash. Make sure they've got access to shell grit, or you could give them a pecker block like this one to encourage good egg production over spring.
What is with our obsession with weather? Why can't we just settle for the simplicity of just looking out the window and seeing if it's sunny, or feel the cold and put on a jumper? Human nature, that's why. We love to predict and anticipate the future. We love to compare and compete. What is the temperature outside compared to inside? In the shade compared to the sun? We just can't help ourselves. Well, I can't tell what this weather's going to do. And is it really that interesting gauging the weather? It totally is, especially with something like this that makes it easy. It's the eye weather. I've just picked it up from Bunnings, and it's a great excuse to get out the cordless. Have a look at this screen. It basically has everything. Indoor-outdoor humidity, indoor-outdoor temperature, barometer, forecaster, rainfall, wind direction, and wind speed. How cool is this? It's even got a moon phase, so you can tell what time of the month the full moon's coming. So if you're like me and you turn into a werewolf, you'll know when to shave your back. Now this unit here is the bit that goes outside and reads what's going on with the weather. Make sure that this part of the setup faces north and that the two units are not more than 50 metres radius apart, and then screw it in place. How easy is that? Make sure it is mounted in a position where it will get the brunt of all weather. It will then gauge the wind speed and monitor the rainfall and the current and future temperature. One thing to be aware of is that the batteries need to go in as per the instructions, so when the two units connect via Wi-Fi, the configuration is correct. Now that it's all set up, the outside unit will communicate wirelessly to deliver all the information you need inside the house to start planning your day. So of course, you know what to wear. For under $100, this is very good value. And if you're looking for something to impress your dad on Father's Day, get him one of these. He'll think you're a genius because you can install it, and he'll also think you've spent a fortune. Fun and easy, just like I told you.
Bamboo is certainly increasing in popularity across Australia, but there's one type to go for. That's the clumping type, not running. Clumping will stay contained, and running, it'll take over your yard. More great garden advice coming up after the break.
If you'd like to get your hands on some of the great plants in the Touch of Class collection, check out the Touch of Class Facebook page. Enter their competition and you could be taking home a spring pack of 10 plants chosen for you by the experts.
Now, plants that provide colour and great form all year round are absolutely invaluable in the garden. So let me introduce you to Cordyline Designer Burgundy. Now, this is a strappy leaf plant that has a number of fantastic features. For a start, I always think that splashes of burgundy are vital in a garden to break up that monotony of green and contrast with other plants. Now, this is also a compact growing form to 1 metre by 1 metre with a neat clumping habit. So you're not wrestling with long leaves or big scruffy looking plants. Now, obviously you would grow this plant for its foliage alone, but you can also look forward to a really pretty flowering display. The flowers are white, scented, and a great contrast to the deeper coloured foliage. Designer Burgundy is a form of Cordyline australis, so it has finer foliage, and that's a sign that this is one tough plant in the heat and dry. All in all, if you're after a no-fuss plant that looks good in any season, in part shade or full sun, as a decorative feature in a garden bed, planted en masse, in a decorative pot, you name it, then this is definitely one to get in the garden this weekend.
Well, gardener owners are getting a whole new message these days about what's important when it comes to getting your garden growing strongly. Once upon a time, they would have recommended that you use a garden fertilizer. But these days, they're always talking about putting microbes into the soil. Now, the trouble is there's good and there's bad microbes. So how do you get more microbes that are good into your soil? Well, there's some new technology that makes it easy. Troforte M is a controlled release plant food that has a special coating technology that has over 24 beneficial soil microbes laying dormant in it, waiting for just a little bit of moisture to spring to life, spreading rapidly through your soil. Now, one of the interesting things about our soils is they're ancient and they lack a lot of trace elements and mineral nutrients we need, which is why we need to supplement our food with vitamin tablets. Now, there are a whole bunch of different blends, including the lawn blend, and one of the great things about this is the microbes in it. You see, these microbes tend to eat thatch. Now, this stops you having to worry about renovating your lawn, and it converts the thatch into nutrients that the lawn can use, so you're not wasting any nutrients in the cycle.
Well, how good and inviting does this pool look today? Unfortunately though, it's only 16 degrees, so I'm going to give it a miss for a swim. But it has got me thinking, when you consider how much you spend on a pool for the install, the maintenance, the running of it, it seems kind of crazy that we only swim for 6 months of the year. But by heating your pool, you can swim all year round, therefore maximising your investment. The most cost-effective option, in my opinion, is a solar pool cover. That allows the most solar energy to penetrate the pool whilst reducing the heat loss once it's in there. The result is an increase in temperature by up to 8 degrees. A properly fitted solar pool cover ticks a few boxes. It reduces evaporation, it reduces the amount of chemicals needed, and of course it keeps away those pesky leaves. This liquid forms a barrier over the top of the pool that reduces evaporation and keeps in heat. And you can swim at any time. Now, if you want to get a little more serious about your pool heating, consider either solar or gas. Solar heating will need roof space for the collector about the same size as your pool. It is the cheapest of all heating systems and may provide you with an extra 4 months of swimming time a year, depending on your location. On the other end of the spectrum is gas heating, which isn't weather dependent like solar. It does, however, need to be connected to either natural gas or an LPG source, but can heat a pool or spa when you want it. Whichever way you look at it, heating the pool so you can use it more while saving water makes perfect sense. So give the professionals at Poolworks a call. You never know, it might be cheaper than you think.
Recently, I introduced you to a brilliant new Australian innovation that's going to change the way we garden. With most of us having smaller gardens, converting an ugly fence or bare wall into a living herb garden, for instance, not only looks great, but it adds tremendous value to the kitchen, as there's nothing quite like fresh herbs. The green wall system from Holman's has made creating living walls a dead easy thing to do. In fact, it's not just dead easy to install, it's also incredibly cost effective. Now, the system is simple to put up. You use a wall bracket, you literally hang the units onto the wall bracket. It has an irrigation system, which is a simple clip-in system that allows each individual pot to be watered, and The best thing of the whole lot, well, it can be automated, so you can use a Holman's electronic tap timer to make sure that they get watered when they need it. And all of this can be achieved at a starting price of just $100. The units are modular, meaning you can add to them, eventually covering the wall vertically or horizontally, or both, simply just covering the whole wall. Each pot can then be planted with your favourite culinary herbs, and you'll be able to harvest regularly from an area that was bare and unproductive. Don't forget, this system is only available at your local Bunnings store. Now, whilst you're in the store, make sure you grab some of these. These are those Renaissance herbs. They're perfect for that instant effect. You're going to need some potting mix, make sure you get the right one. It's this Koya peat potting mix that really does the job, and when you get it, make sure you grab Forte Fertilizer to activate it and give it life. Believe me, you grab these things and you are going to enjoy amazing results. This system is brilliant.
When your rhubarb's ripe, you can harvest it stem by stem as you need it for delicious rhubarb and apple pie. All you need to do is do it by hand, so just get your thumb or index finger right in there and then gently pull it out. Just make sure that you only eat the stem because the leaves are poisonous. So for more great gardening tips, join us after the break right here on The Garden Gurus.
Hedging and shaping trees and shrubs is a great way to add a formal touch to your garden. But manual hedge trimming can be a bit of hard work on your biceps, so you want to get your hands on an electric trimmer like this one. It does all the hard work for you. But this isn't just any trimmer. It's a 90-watt electric pole hedge trimmer with a 2.3 metre long reach, so you can trim in all of those hard-to-reach places with both feet planted firmly on the ground. The head cuts on virtually any angle. In fact, there's 12 different positions that you can lock it into. So you can use it for numerous applications, from cutting high hedges to shaping small trees. And you can adjust the position of this rear handle too. By squeezing this button, I can rotate the position up to 90 degrees either way. So I can trim at odd angles without having to twist the whole unit. And how's this for a great safety feature? It's got a 2-button start. So push here and squeeze here to start her up. To stop, simply release. The blades themselves are designed to cut through material up to 18 millimetres thick, and you are working with diagonal action laser cut blades, so you can get through both thick and thin material in seconds. If you're trimming new growth, use a wide sweeping motion with a slight downward tilt of the blade for the best cut. If you want to achieve a perfect level hedge, you can stretch a piece of string along the length of the hedge as a guide. For side trimming, begin at the bottom and sweep up slowly. Moving in this direction helps to stop the material you've already cut from falling into the area that you're pruning, so you get a cleaner cut. The motor is positioned at the rear, which is an important design feature because it distributes the weight more evenly for improved balance and manoeuvrability. It's not too heavy. It weighs about 6 kilos, which isn't much more than those weights you lift at the gym. It's got a shoulder strap too, which makes it extra easy to carry around for long periods, which is a good thing because I've got a lot of work to do.
Continuing our highlights of fabulous gardens to visit around the world, this week we're sharing the magnificent Van Deusen's Gardens in Vancouver, Canada. Van Deusen's is considered one of the most beautiful gardens in North America. And if you're in Vancouver, it's well worthwhile taking the option to visit. The Botanical Garden covers over 55 acres in the heart of Vancouver, and it has one of the world's great plant collections in it, with over 7,300 plant families. Its backdrop is the city of Vancouver, one of the world's most beautiful cities, and your starting point when you're taking a trip to Canada. To get there, you need to travel with the experts who know Canada best, Scenic Tours. A scenic tour is designed to provide luxury travel with every option in a tour that's flexible and allows you to see what you want to see along the journey. Scenic Tours have a 22-day tour of the Rockies, West Coast, which includes an Alaskan cruise, and it takes in Vancouver and then heads out on the Rocky Mountaineer train to Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Sun Peaks and Whistler before returning to Vancouver Island and the capital of BC, Victoria. The tour then cruises in luxury up to Skagway and Glacier Bay in Alaska, opening up spectacular scenery. This is a holiday you'll never forget, and you enjoy luxury all the way, including staying in the stylish Fairmont hotels. A trip with Scenic is all-inclusive. All activities, including sightseeing, are covered in your upfront cost. Even tipping is included. The tours are set up so you can go at a leisurely pace, and you have freedom to tailor your tour to add extra experiences to suit exactly what you want to do. Book now and you'll fly free to Canada, just pay taxes, and Scenic will also give you a free night's accommodation before or after your tour. Visit scenictours.com.au or call 1300 Scenic, that's 1300 723 642.
If you're looking to establish a garden on a tough site, then you might want to think about using indigenous plants, which are local native plants. And this is an example of one that grows in my area. It's called the bulbine lily. Now, the great thing about indigenous plants is that because they are local, they've adapted to the local growing conditions, which means they'll do really well in your garden with very little water or maintenance. So, for more colourful, easy to grow plants, join us after the break.
How good would it be to have a consistently healthy pool? Imagine having an energy-efficient pump, a robotic cleaner, a brand new sand filter, and a professional to install it all. And while we're dreaming, imagine having a year's worth of maintenance from Poolworks. Joe. Well, it doesn't have to be a dream at all. All this could be yours by simply going to the Garden Guru's website and telling us in 25 words or less what makes you a healthy pool person. Then this healthy pool prize pack worth $6,000 could be yours thanks to our friends at Poolworks.
Absolutely every garden, no matter what size or design, can utilise ornamental plants in pots to create a feature point, hide a problem spot, or just show off your favourite ornamental plants. In this week's Containerology project, I want to give you some inspirational ideas on how to get the best growth results while still looking stylish. And it all starts using a sleek, modern pot like this terrace square from Decor. Square pots are such a good shape because very few of us have rounded walls, and this means corners can be filled perfectly using pots that fit and fill the gaps, particularly important when you're dealing with a very small garden like a balcony. For a traditional yet easy care look, a combination of roses and annuals is a winner. These flower carpet roses are in bloom for up to 10 months of the year, and what's more, they're disease resistant and drought tolerant. The great thing about flower carpets is that there's a colour for just about every situation. In a bigger pot, underplant your flower carpet roses with some colourful annuals like these violas. Choose colours that are either in harmony or contrast against each other for maximum impact. Harmonious colours like shades of yellow and orange look bright and cheerful, while contrasting purple with yellow gives a sharp and modern vibe. The pots can also be very complementary if colour is selected well, and the terrace square comes in 3 colour choices: latte, pewter and terracotta. The lighter colours are ideal for darker coloured flowers, and the darker pots like these work particularly well when you want to show off colourful foliage plants like this red fountain. In a pot on its own, this works well as a feature plant, but mass planting several pots and grouping them together creates a relaxed screen or hedge-like effect. The bright red foliage of this plant is a standout, whether grown in full sun or part shade, and it's really low maintenance. You only need to pull off the occasional brown leaf. Reduce transplant shock of any new plantings by soaking the punnets or pots in a dilution of sea salt before planting out. Water in again with sea salt and fertilise once a season using power feed for lush and healthy plants. The terrace square pots have open-ended rims, giving no space for creepy crawlies like spiders to hide. And they come with saucers specially designed to capture any water that has flown past the roots and holds it for later use. Keep the areas around your pots looking clean and tidy with this nifty gadget from Decor. And if your pots are on porous surfaces like concrete or large pavers, make sure you use the saucers to prevent those annoying pot stains from spoiling your vista.
Welcome to the Spring Green Expo on the Gold Coast. This place is heaven to me because I'm a landscaper and it's an opportunity to find lots of new innovative ideas that I can take back to my clients in Sydney to benefit their garden. But one of the main reasons I'm here, there is a rumour running rife through our industry about a new slow-release fertiliser that reintroduces microbes into the soil, which is pretty unheard of, so I'm going to check it out. Chris.
Matt, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Now, can you tell me, is it true that these buckets are full of microbes?
Yes, they are.
Really?
Actually, 24 strains of beneficial Australian microbes and soil fungi around each prill in the bucket. So there's literally millions of microbes in every bucket. Chemical fertilisers will give you a short, sharp kick, but they're no good for the environment in the long term. Most of that goes out into the waterways and not much actually gets taken up by the plant. This is based on natural minerals. The microbes break those natural minerals down and they turn it into plant food. So they're using a natural process and enhancing it rather than trying to force a chemical fertiliser down a plant's throat.
Right, OK, so if I came across soil that was completely dead, arid, no earthworms whatsoever, what should I do?
I'd use Rejuvenator first.
Right.
There's about 6 products in the range. Rejuvenator is designed to actually bring those dead soils back to life. You should see earthworm activity within a few months back into that soil. From there, I just fertilise twice a year with the all-purpose fertiliser, and that'll keep your soil in tip-top shape.
So can you give me an example of how it's changing the industry, or...?
Well, there's a commercial grower, a lettuce leaf grower to the north of Perth, who now uses Troforte in their lettuce leaf production. They've brought their average crop time from 6 weeks down to 5 weeks.
Diane Veal has been propagating plants professionally for 20 years and started using Troforte a year ago.
We've noticed a big difference. When our winter comes on, our stock can go a little yellow. So after using the product, we get that green lushness back, and within 2 weeks, we now use it as a preventative.
Stop the yellow happening.
Yes.
Use it in advance. That's a good idea. Retailers have also been cottoning onto the popularity of Troforte. Joe, so how is your clientele responding?
Very well. This is a slow-release fertiliser. There are a few of those in the market. However, this one has a bioactive element. That means that it works quicker, the customer's happy, and so they keep coming back. It's a good product.
Joe is one of many retailers that stock Troforte around the country. To find a stockist close to you, check the website.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, we're back next week and we've got a whole heap of gardening advice that's going to make gardening at home dead easy. That's what the Garden Gurus is all about. I'm Trevor Cochrane. We'll look forward to seeing you then.